game, which meant they picked up a bunch of wins. This meta is all about early game. Like, you have 25 minutes to win the game, basically, and that is not the playstyle Giants want to play.
It seems that it's kind of the problem that H2K is struggling with as well. These teams are snowballing, these games are snowballing out of control, and if you don't have the advantage early, it's very hard to get it back. Yamato, what do you think about the way that Giants with Cubs are approaching the game?
I don't know, Cubs, as a coach, he's the self-proclaimed late-game king, and it's pretty pointless to have that title or self-given title at this point in time. I agree with the official sentiment that Giants was never good at the early game. They just stalled out their games, played full death ball compositions, and I think that just doesn't exist anymore. And I think it's the same case for H2K.
Well, for Giants, they do need to start picking up some wins. So where are the positives here? What can we build on? Attila, where do you think they can start building that road to playoffs?
I mean, I think Betsy is playing pretty well, and Joko sometimes has like these creative jungle paths that surprises the enemy. And like all the games I saw Giants winning early game, it was due to their mid-jungle duo. And if they manage to do that and manage to get Ruin going on top, like with whatever champion he wants to play and actually make a play on bot, that I think it's their weakest side. I think they have a really good shot of making it into mid-game.
Definitely agree. I think Betsy-Joko combination is the win condition for them. Ruin, sadly, so far this split has not been able to do anything. Basically, it is tough if your team tends to lose most early games. He gets left on an island and just like smacked in the head by a jungler and then a support and then an AD carry. Like, it's rough. He's like number 10 in every stat, I feel like, for top laners. But I think overall, Betsy, same hairstyle as Gilius, so that must be a trend now, is the man who needs to carry
You're really
the team.
scraping to find something. But honestly, Betsy has been the light or the very good thing on this team so far. Highest damage percentage out of anyone in the league. But that could just also say that he's really telling the team, nobody else is doing anything.
Yeah.
Guys, I need you. So, well, the consensus is that Joko needs to keep doing what he did in spring. He needs to go to that mid lane and then hopefully keep it going for the team.
And hopefully draft a little bit more early game.
Yeah.
Don't need to draft for scaling. Yamato already said it. You don't really get to late game anymore. So they need something where if you get ahead, that champion can actually snowball the game.
And they need a good comp now because they have to beat Schalke. And Schalke, in part, also has to beat Giants in that race for playoffs. They're only one win apart. And when it comes to the end of the season, that victory could be very important. The big resurgence of Schalke through amazing Yamato has not happened yet, or has not happened actually at all. What do you think? How have they been adapting with their new jungler so far?
I don't know. I still feel like it's the same Schalke. I feel like they have a plan coming into it, and if something alters it slightly, if something goes wrong, they just disappear. Schalke is not playing the game anymore. I felt the same when they lost against Fnatic, that game when Baron just came from under them. I felt like that when we played against them. We got ahead early, and then all of a sudden, they just didn't do anything anymore. And I feel like that's the trend for Schalke all around, last split as well.
Is that what it's like to play versus them as well on the Rift, Attila? Do you feel like they don't offer a lot of resistance?
Yeah, I mean, all 3 games we played against them, like, I felt like it was kind of one-sided game. Like, if you get a little bit of early pressure and you get ahead, like, they just let you play the game as you want, and they don't offer much resistance. Like, the games weren't, like, super messy against them because they didn't fight back.
And I think that's kind of the big problem for them. There doesn't seem to be a single lane who's actually trying really hard to apply pressure. The bot lane is very passive. Upset does not do anything in the laning phase. Vander is also not great at roaming, which is actually the meta for a lot of supports now, and he's not offering that, or at least he's not doing it very well. And then you have Amazing, who struggles to have early game impact. Typically, he invades on his own, he's forced to flash away, or he dies.
Sorry to interrupt you, the players are about ready, so where does it have to come from for Schalke?
Give me Playmaker for Vizicachi. Just try it. Just try it. Play around top side. I want to see if it works or not.
TLDR, Betsy versus Vizicachi is where we see the openings for
Or
both.
Betsy versus Nuked.
Or Betsy versus Nuked. We'll see. Very important game for both teams after going 0-2 in Week 3. Schalke, they have a lot to prove here today. Let's see if they can do it.
All right, thank you very much, Shox. All right, it's going to be a tough one for both teams. They need to be able to pick up these wins against the lower-ranked opponents to try and climb that ladder. The next 3 weeks are going to be very telling, I think, for both Giants and for Schalke. Ender, in particular, with the playstyles we know, what do you want to see especially out of Giants?
Out of Giants, so Giants are interesting because they did have 2 weeks with Rift Rivals to go back to the drawing board and try to mix things up. I saw a tweet from Koob saying that he was really confident in the team coming back after the break. I just need them to focus all the way in on the early game because we saw a hint of that. They picked, I believe, Zyra Khan. We're playing a little bit more for that early mid. And it wasn't quite that late game that they'd been proclaiming was their kingdom. Now, let's all in on making plays early on.
Well, Koobs has certainly been training. Take a look at this here. He's certainly achieved Super Saiyan, at least level 1. Over on the Giants side, though, they banned the Camille off the board. Schalke follows with a Nocturne. A couple of jungle choices.
So not seeing the first ban from Schalke being Aatrox is a little concerning to me. Keep my eyes out for that.
That is already, you see a bead of sweat already.
You can't let that happen, but I really like seeing the Camille taken away from Amazing. He's played that 4 times. That is by far his most comfortable champion. I also think that Vander has looked okay when he has been on some roaming supports like the Pyke. That has really been how Schalke have made their plays in the early game, but if Giants can limit that option, that'll make it a lot more difficult for him.
All right, you can breathe a sigh of relief. Aatrox is officially banned this game, Ender, so we're 2 for 2 on the day, and that should continue. Talia also made her way into the ban column for FC Schalke 04. It's over to Giants, though. What will they pick up first?
I really like Zoe on this patch as a first pick. Personally, I think that even with some nerfs to her W scaling, that it is very, very strong, but they might have been watching that Vitality game, Pyra.
I think so, and we've got a Gragas, so we can once again ask the question if it's going to be in that jungle, if it's going to be in the top. This is a flexible pick.
It's very, very likely to be flexed all the way until the very end because if Giants can keep a little bit of mystery over on the side of Schalke to make it more difficult for Vizicachi to get a strong 1v1 champion in the top lane.
Also, the Braum gets locked in, and the Kai'Sa. Now, I was about to say, oh, okay, Vander's on Braum, and then I realized, wait a minute, funnel comps exist.
It is possible. Now, Schalke have not had a great track record against funnel comps, have lost both games they've played against them, but
so, so you're saying they should play it themselves?
Hey, maybe they should. Maybe it's just OP. But Schalke, again, they've had that same time off while the other teams went to Rift Rivals to go and learn something themselves. So if the funnel is the way to do it, try it against a team like Giants that has been known to struggle to have plays made early on.
But Giants have made some interesting choices in their own picks. The Yasuo gets locked in and the Rumble as well.
The Rumble, I think we saw out of Echo Fox back at Rift Rivals against the funnel strategy.
Yeah.
The idea here being you do have early shoving in the lanes. That means it's definitely going to be a jungle Gragas here for Joko. Give some knockups, try and help out the Yasuo, but we're on 100% funneling with Nuke Duck having that smite.
Yeah, indeed. And the Morgana being locked in means it's now going to go over to phase 2. So Giants, they have 2 more bans to make good to try to limit the effectiveness of this funnel composition, but it's Schalke first, and they're taking their time about it, banning the Shen away. So support Shen for nukes a lot.
Yeah, very likely we see some bans here towards the support role. I would have assumed for Vander, take that away, because it's very likely we see a Morgana for upset in the bottom lane, actually, instead of necessarily for Vander. If they want to put all these supports, get 4 supports for Nuke Duck's Kai'Sa, that has typically been a good strategy for these teams that want to run the funnels.
Okay, well, looks like at least Amazing is pretty confident in how the team's going to be able to execute this one. Giants still have 12 seconds. They banned the Heimerdinger out from upset. So banking on the fact that maybe Schalke won't go full funnel.
Yeah, well, even if it isn't Morgana support, which it is not, they do have the option for the All-Star. That's the playmaking on this team, because something that you typically see a little bit lacking with the funnel comp is ability to engage fights. That's why we like the Rakan in there, the All-Star as well. We'll give Schalke the tools to make engagements happen in the mid-game when Nuke Duck is at his strongest.
For Giants, though, looks like it's to be more a traditional AD carry choice. Steelback locks in the Ezreal. So starting to get a clearer picture of where everyone's going. Of course, the Yasuo should be in that mid lane for Betsy. We'll be looking for him to make a lot of plays as well. And with the timer ticking down, Tom Kench left up. Nukesalot is going to grab it. It's a very safe bot lane now for Giants.
Yeah, and I like this, going back to the Tom Kench for Sir Nukesalot, because I remember all the way back in the very first game of the split when Giants did get their win, it was him on the Tom Kench, and I remember him making Abyssal Voyage plays to have action across the map and get that early game going.
So, Ender, you made a very good point, but I want to change things up a little bit because Vizicachi's on the Poppy.
He's back, baby.
He is back. Well, I mean, this is new Poppy. It's been a while. It's been a long time since Poppy was reworked, but I remember back when this guy used to play the old Poppy, and then when he picked it up on the new Poppy, he was actually making some insanely good plays, and it was what Deficio was saying on the desk, we want to see Vizicachi on a playmaker. Well, Poppy can certainly make plays.
Yeah, and her ability to shut down dashes against champions like Yasuo and Gragas can be very, very powerful. Maybe not quite as good against a Rumble in lanes. Very likely she just gets shoved in early on, but that's exactly what Giants are going to be going for. They need early aggression. They need to have a little bit more proactivity out of Joko, who is on a Gragas that can make these early plays.
Yeah, we'll have to be watching on Joko. Obviously, the top and the mid lane have the ability to make plays early on. It does seem like Giants have decided to leave their bottom lane a little bit safer. Maybe they're going to be a little bit more just sustainable, just farming up back and forth. But keep an eye on where Joko goes. We'll keep an eye on Ruin and Betsy this game to see if they can shut down the funnel. All on Nukeduck, though, for the Schalke side.
It's a lot of eggs in his basket. He's got tanks, supports, and then him on that Kai'Sa, the pick that Perks brought out here in the EU LCS and dominated the league on. Now it's up to Nukeduck to get another win on the board here for Schalke and try to inch them closer towards that playoff spot.
Yeah, big chip on the shoulders of Schalke. These guys came in saying they were going to have a redemption split. They wanted to pick up the pieces, but they've gone only 2-4 so far. A third win would mean quite a lot to this team, and they've had a lot of tough opponents to face off. So now that the schedule gets a little lighter here, we'll see if they're able to make it happen. Starting off on the Rift, though, looks like there won't be too many shenanigans out of Schalke as they spread out, matched evenly by Giants in formation.
Remember that Giants, for them getting a win here, would tie them up in the standings with Schalke and try to bring them back into the conversation a bit for playoffs. As the analyst desk and on Ready Check was talking about earlier, Giants aren't really in that picture at the moment, but if they can take a game against a team that's relatively even to them in the standings at the time being, that'll be a very major step in the right direction for them.
So who's your standout player for this game? Knowing the compositions, there's carry potential in a lot of roles. Who are you looking at?
I'm looking at Betsy on the Yasuo because let me tell you, this guy has been the best performing player on this Giants lineup, and now he's on the Yasuo. He has the ability to try and make stuff happen and try to carry. He's also got Joko on the Gragas, who can set up some really big last breaths later on, so it's really, the ball is in his court to carry this game.
We'll see if he's able to do it. Of course, he may not have to actually lane against Nukeduck because Nukeduck is going to be tag teaming with Amazing for the rest of this game as we start off on the red buff.
Yeah. Very similar. We saw smites out of the mid laners in the last game. Now we have, I guess, a smite out of the mid laner. I don't know. He's jungler. He's
I mean,
mid,
it's one smite on either side, right? Like, Amazing
Yep.
is doing his best Yankos cosplay, and we'll see if it comes down to actually contesting objectives. It's only one smite for one smite this time.
Yeah, but again, here's the idea. You want to clear out your jungle camps and not miss any minions in the middle lane. So actually, Nukeduck, because he held onto a smite on that red buff, was denied at least one minion's worth of experience. Very small in the grand scheme of things, but it's those tiny advantages that you're really trying to build up when you are putting all of these resources into the one player.
It can make all the difference for a funnel composition, absolutely. And now Nukeduck will fire down the last one. He's going to be going roaming and leaving Betsy alone for a little while. We'll see if there are going to be any plays down bottom, though. This Award's going to spot them moving towards the Scuttle Crab. Should be easy for them to take that one out, starting this one off. And everything else is just a standard start.
Yeah, and even though we've sort of looked at Schalke and said they're not necessarily a team that will make that many proactive plays, now in a game like this, when you're running a strategy such as the funnel comp, we don't ask that of them anymore. They're purely just putting all of this money into Nukeduck, clearing the minion waves, going back to the mid lane. They have about 35 seconds in between each wave when it crashes into the turret, so they'll pick up this wave with the cannon minion, shove out the next one, then go back into the jungle and start clearing things out again. The difference comes how Giants play against it, because right now Betsy is trying to leash over this Raptor camp and steal away those precious resources here from Schalke.
This is critical right now to be able to try and deny a little bit of the farm.
That
Of course,
didn't work.
He didn't quite do it successfully, but I liked the thought here. So let's talk a little bit more in depth about it, specifically the champion choice when you go down to playing this funnel composition. For people who haven't been watching the last couple of weeks, maybe scratching your head, why is Nukeduck playing Kai'Sa in the mid lane with Smite? Talk to me about why the Kai'Sa is the preferred funnel champion.
Right, well, with Kai'Sa specifically, she has very strong damage against single target camps. We're going to see Joko, though, looking for play in the top lane.
All right, Chachi, he's only level 3. He can't really stop any pushes, but he does flash, and the steadfast presence is not enough. He gets barbecued, but Joko takes the kill. It's first blood.
Very early pop there of the steadfast presence. He loses his flash. Neither Ruin or Joko lose their own, and Joko's continuing to steal away those camps on the top side of the map. So this is about as well as the early game can go here for Giants.
Yeah. So Schalke, they don't seem too busted up about it, but Chachi left a little bit out to dry. This is part of the weakness of the composition. They can't really react as fast to Giants making plays like that.
Yeah, your side lanes will just typically lose when you're playing the funnel comp. I think G2 has been the only team for me that's proven the ability to actually have lanes that win and actually not be punished in the end, thanks to the fantastic play out of them. But Chachi is going to have to step up a bit. Now without the flash, has a giant target on the back of his head for Joko to repeat.
Yeah. Fortunately for him, he's getting a little bit of free farm to try and even the gap a little bit. But as you mentioned, Ruin was going to give them a hard time no matter what. And for Giants, well, their game's already looking a little bit more up than we've seen so far this split. Remember, these guys are on a 5-game losing streak, so getting their second first blood of the summer split, that's what feels good, man.
Definitely is. We're still early on into the split, so it's not too condemning of them, but definitely shows you that Joko has not been the most active jungler in the early game, and now that he's on the Gragas with the Electrocute as well, that's definitely gearing up to make those plays. And you look across the map, well, Upset and Vander are shoving in that bottom lane. That potentially leaves them vulnerable to a visit from Joko. Teleport on Ruin as well makes you start thinking, if the next place for Giants is going to look, or where are they going to look, maybe it could be that bottom lane.
Well, for the time being, everyone's hovering around the mid, but Joko's more interested in trying to pick up his own farm rather than try and contest anything versus Nukeduck and Amazing. Checking in, of course, with the farm differential. It's kind of hard to do the exact comparison because one's farming the mid lane, one is farming the rest of the map. But meanwhile, it looks like there's going to be a play down bottom. Nuke-a-lot is already Nuke-a-lot. Level 6! What assault? Nukeduck's going to pick up the kill and let the funnel begin. Teleport canceled for Ruin.
That was the most insane level up timing I've seen in a while. He hit level 6 off of a minion that died very, very nearby him. Ticks over from the CC landed
Instant
by
killer
Vander.
instinct.
Immediately goes in. That was nuts.
Yeah, okay. Well, good job for Nukeduck picking up his kill. And despite the fact the Giants have a gold lead across the board, well, what gold Schalke do have is definitely starting to stack up on the Nukeduck side of the map. So, already working his way forward. Not too many items built out, just a couple of daggers as well as a jungling item, Skirmisher's Saber. But that will change in not too much time.
Speaking of those jungle items, for Joko, he's actually building a little bit of AP with that Fiendish Codex. We have seen in the past a few different buffs to AP Gragas to increase his damage and make that option a little bit more viable, and it really does play into this idea that Joko is going for kills early on.
Oh, we saw that last game. I mean, yes, it was a top lane Gragas, but still, you build the AP, you can still dish the damage. No one saw that.
Come on, Nukeduck. You're a professional.
Every professional misses sometimes. Speaking of missing, I think Vizichachi is wondering if Joko might be in his brush. There we go. Nicely placed on the ward, and he throws the hammer down
Get
very
outta here.
preemptively. He doesn't want to deal with that Gragas again.
And now Betsy enters the fray immediately. A lot of damage potential to put down onto this top lane turret.
Poor Chachi.
He's just getting bullied up there.
I mean, he's only died once, so like, give him some credit. He saw that one coming at least.
Yeah, but getting forced off of his top lane turret, and because Giants have so much pressure, that enables Joko to steal that away. Look at the minion that dies to another minion on the red side, gives Nukeduck the level 6, and I think that flash was maybe a little bit more than he had to use, but still gets the kill and gets out.
Well, Rumble will definitely be a key playmaker in this game. That teleport timing being down means that Giants aren't going to be able to react nearly as much as they would have been able to a few minutes ago. Let's see if Schalke make use of that timing window, force any plays.
They do trade red buffs on the other side of the map, but Joko has just stayed in this top lane, even after getting kicked out by the Keeper's Verdict. He's right back there, and the turret's being taken down relatively low for this stage in the game. Again, when you're against a funnel composition, it's very important to knock down that outer ring of turrets, because once you do that, if you're on the side of Giants, it becomes so easy to invade the enemy jungle, take away those camps, and make it so that a character who realistically wants to have two funnels of resources, two areas to go get those, can only access the one.
Yeah, try to squeeze it out a little bit. I mean, it's interesting how the objective of the game, or at least the objective of what you're playing for early on, changes when this funnel composition comes in, because you have to think a little bit differently. However, right now, it is all about taking down the tower. It looks like they've double-teamed on Chachi. The red carpet gets rolled out for him, and the barrel as well. Well, they're throwing him a party, but I don't think he wanted to go.
Wow, that was absolutely brutal, and there were just a few seconds left on Vizichachi's flash. Excellent timing window exploited there from Joko to get not only the kill, but also the turret on the back end, and Schalke can't make any reply other than, I guess we go get that Scuttle Crab on the bot side again.
Yeah, that's a consolation prize. And it's crucial because Ruin, who not only has a CS lead, also now has kill gold in his pocket, and it's only 9 minutes into this game. At some point, when the laning phase ends, Ruin is going to be so crucial to these Giants team fights. We've seen what Rumble can do, and he's got a Leandri's Torment already.
That's deadly up there. 1,200 gold lead for him over Chachi at the moment. You talked a bit about laning phase and when it's going to end. Giants want that to end as soon as possible. They have teleport on Ruin. If they can set up a play around the bottom side of the map, that's the dream case scenario for them. They can make a team fight happen before Nukeduck has scaled up too far, because right now, Nukeduck and Joko feel like they're relatively even. They both have their jungle items. that's going to mean that fight should go the way of Giants.
It should. Is always the thing you have to add onto that one. Now, we wanted to see Betsy stepping up, making some plays. It hasn't been so much about the laning because he hasn't really been facing down against anybody, but he himself will also have the ability to have an impact. For now, though, he's really only sitting on boots and a couple of swords.
Eventually, we'll be getting to that Phantom Dancer, but right now it's been the Joko show.
Speaking of Joko, looking for Amazing, turns back with the knock-up Glacial Fissure. It means that Ruin can't go in on him either. Of course, Ruin's still hanging on to his Equalizer, or rather, hanging on to the cooldown of his Equalizer. Still a few seconds left to go on that one. But it looks like Giants will be able to start off on the Rift Herald. Not a whole lot that Schalke can do to contest it right now. Another one of those weaknesses of the funnel comp. You can't be everywhere in the same way as a standard composition.
And again, Giants just want to take this so they themselves can knock down that second turret. But Vander's actually roamed all the way up, so Schalke are going to force Giants off of that objective.
Ah, nicely played. Okay. Schalke stopped that one for now. Remember, they're still down in the gold game. It's about 2,000 in the lead, but Schalke, it's all about getting this Kai'Sa ahead. Still moving forward. The level 2 boots, of course, picked up in addition to finishing the Blood Razor.
It is important to note, we talked a bit about the Gragas and how he worked very well into the Kindred in the last game, but against the Braum, that's a very good tool, having that, that unbreakable wall to cancel out the explosive cask from coming in. Morgana as well will limit the ability for Joko to find those engagements. So it is very important now that Giants control a specific area of the map so they can find picks, because actually starting off an actual team fight might be a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, there's a couple approaches when you try to place off against the funnel comp, right? You try to shut it down early on, stop the funnel from actually happening. But barring that, because the Kai'Sa hasn't had too much trouble actually getting any of that gold, you can just try and control the options that she has to get more. And speaking of control, Schalke are really stopping this Rift Herald from happening. And now Ruin and Joko, they might get pincered here. They're starting this fight off, though. There goes the Equalizer down. Betsy incoming. Chachi looking around the side, not going to find anything. Both teams actually going to back off. Or wait a minute, they're going in. Two-man. Keeper's verdict for Visit Chachi denies the fight.
Chachi's like, guys, stop. Leave me alone. I will use that verdict on you and get you out of my face. Man, but that shows how difficult it is for Giants to find those engagements, because against any other list of champions on Schalke's side, Joko body slam flashes forward, drops down that ultimate to start it off.
Yeah, and it seems like Giants have really got a good reason for trying to pick on Chachi this game. He has the most isolated deaths in the league right now, and we have seen some questionable performances out of him. But Nuke Duck, nothing questionable about this play. Easy peasy, pick up, steal back if you want it. Nuke Duck's going to take that one, but Giants instantly reacting to the mid tower.
Yeah, Giants are going to be decently okay with this. They are intentionally leaving Steel back out to dry in the bottom lane so they can play around this middle lane, and now they finally have the opportunity, I think, to go up and secure that Rift Herald for themselves, which will in turn get them that bottom turret, and that could be 3 turrets to none, massively in favor of Giants.
Yeah. While Schalke are really playing for the kills on the Kai'Sa, Giants have pretty much been playing on the rest of the map. Now Chachi does chase Joko away from the red buff, so no steal happening there.
I don't like that from Joko. I think he should have gone for the Herald right there. Taking away the red buff, sure, you deny it from Nuke Duck, that's great, but Giants should be playing a larger game, looking at what could come from that Rift Herald take, and now Schalke have their dual lane up there, which should stop Giants from ever taking that objective.
More opportunistic play. Now, there was a lot made of Giants and their focus on maybe playing it out in the late game. Obviously, they do have a lot of late game power in this composition. But overall, it seems like they have been a little bit more proactive, a little bit more playing for the laning phase, even if it hasn't been pushed as well as you'd like. This evolution from Giants, do you like where this is headed?
Oh, I love it, and I think it's mandatory against a composition like Schalke's that you have to make this early move, especially out of Joko. Playing around Ruin in the top lane has been a very good look for them. It's just about moving that forward, because we've reached this point where we're no longer in the traditional laning phase. Few turrets have gone down. There's not necessarily that clear of an area for Giants to attack on that map apart from the Rift Herald. And now that Schalke are showing a very clear will to stop Giants from getting that at any cost, it's going to become a lot more difficult for Giants to try and extend that 2,000 gold lead they have.
Yeah. Schalke definitely coming alive a little bit more, so Giants are going to find themselves a little hard pressed. I feel like the 5v5 fight, though, is definitely something they still don't want to take, despite the fact that they were looking to chase people down left and right. Giants have been a little quicker on the draw. It's just they keep picking on the guy with the hammer.
Yeah, they definitely have to kill Nuke Duck in these fights if they are going to be breaking out, because that is where all the money is on Schalke. He's level 11 at the moment, which actually isn't a lead over Betsy. I think Betsy and Joko have done a good job of denying camps away from Nuke Duck so far, and that's meant that overall it's dead even between the jungle mid 2v2s.
Yeah, it's just you just got to flip the gold values in there between who has what, because unfortunately Amazing is not really able to get a whole lot of gold this game since he's basically playing Butler for Nuke Duck.
Yeah, Mazen's having a good time, though. He's like, you know what? I don't have to gank if I'm just playing this Braum. I get to, partner around with you and put all the responsibilities into Nuke Duck's.
Yeah, it's a chill game. You just get to lay back. There's a few moments of panic when, they might be killing my guy. Now I could jump into the action. But for the most part, he gets to just take a scenic tour of Summoner's Rift and observe everything.
Aha, but finally, Schalke have all recalled at the same exact time. And Giants didn't even necessarily know that. They've started up the Rift Herald on top of a control ward, and unless they get spooked from Vander showing up here, this should be an easy secure for them.
They have been spooked quite a lot, though, but they're really persistent in trying to take down this Rift Herald. And this time, there's not a lot happening that can stop them. So with 3 members invested, they will finally secure this one. Remember, Giants have the 2 towers to the 0 that Schalke have been able to secure. Amazing and Vander show up to see the Rift Herald getting popped. However, let's see if they stay a little too long. Giants realize they might be able to force a fight here with the Kai'Sa still sitting in mid.
Yeah, it's interesting, though, because Schalke are playing like they're the ones with the gold lead, grouping up with 4 members, 3 members around this middle lane because Nuke Duck has his Ginsu's range blade. The completed 2 items means that if they get lane priority, they can just collapse and punish side laners like Ruin right here.
That's exactly what they're trying to do. Here we go, Killer Instinct on Flash. At the last second, Ruin gets out of harm's way. And that Kai'Sa definitely getting very scary. Nuke Duck can start off on the Krugs. Let's take a look, though, at the Ginsu's. It actually changed. It got a bit of a nerf on this last patch.
Yeah, it means when you're getting those auto attacks down, you're not getting quite as much AD/AP percentage scaling on up. So realistically, this is a weaker version of the funnel strategy of the funnel Kai'Sa because of that nerf. But at the same in the same vein, she doesn't have a lot of AP, AD at the moment, so it's not going to be the end of the world for her right now.
No, take a little longer. I mean, the funnel is a little more constricted. You still have to wait a little while longer. Now, maybe we will get to that late game that Giants are always talking about in this one, but we're still only 16 and a half in. Nukesalot, meanwhile, pairing up with Steelback in the mid lane to try and push this one down. I want to see that Rift Herald actually popped here, because Giants have been playing defensively despite their gold lead.
It's been very slow ever since Schalke started roaming Vander around the map. That's been the big difference maker for me in Schalke's games, because a lot of the time, every single gank that comes from them, from Amazing, is paired up with Vander roaming towards the mid lane, and even though they haven't been proactive with ganks in that sense, it has been about getting Vander to escort Nuke Duck and Amazing around the map and really just force Giants away from the river and giving Schalke control over this map.
Ooh, Chachi, he might be going for some revenge right now, looking for the 1v1 on Ruin. Actually turns around and the Rift Herald is going to get popped in the bottom. While Schalke are all sitting towards the mid looking to contest this dragon, Giants might have found an opening to take down tower number 3 here, and it looks like it will be the case. Will they force the fight, though? That's the question. Nukesalot has Abyssal Voyage if he wants to get in here, but the dragon's already gone down.
A little bit of a concern. Oh, actually, they're teleporting in. They're going.
That is very late on the teleport right now. Ruin is actually going to not finish the channel.
I mean, there's a great ward right there above Joko that they could have TP to if they wanted to go for some sort of crazy play, but not too sure what that was about. Definitely some miscommunication on the side of Giants.
It was all about chasing them away from the bottom lane so the Rift Herald could do its thing. So it was an investment, Ender.
Well, that's like the worst investment of all time.
I didn't say it was a good one. I just said it was an investment. All right, Betsy going forward, escorting the Rift Herald as well, but don't think he'll be able to find any more damage except the initial charge, since Upset and Vander are here to try and push him back. That is a good one. Gets it down to about 2/3 of its health bar.
Right now, though, Schalke moving a few members up towards the top side of the map. This is when it gets really scary for the side lanes of Giants, because at the start of the game, it is very much in the favor of the team playing against the funnel comp, because they're the ones with a jungler. They can make plays and can look for ganks, but you hit this point around the 10-15 minute mark where all of a sudden the funnel duo has permanent control over the mid lane. They're shoving out waves and moving, and you don't know if they're moving into their own jungle to farm their camps or if they're coming to gank you and dive you, which is the situation that the Giants have found themselves in a few times now.
Well, Giants do have some power in their items as well. We've seen a couple of spikes come in. Steelback has his Trinity Force picked up. We talked about Betsy earlier on. You were saying he wasn't quite there with the Phantom Dancer. Well, he's got it now. And lest we forget that Ruin's been sitting on his Landry Stormman for a while. So if these guys group up and get those picks you've been talking about, they're going to be the scary ones. But they've got to anticipate the moves from Schalke.
Yeah, I definitely think the Giants, their mid-game team fighting is the strength of this competition on 2 items, with Betsy having his Phantom Dancer plus Infinity Edge once they get there. Steel back as well, the Mirror Mana, as soon as it stacks up, that's going to be such a strong spike for this team to try and fight off of. It's just been difficult for them to find an opening. They really just have to pick a corner of the map and say, Schalke, come fight us here, because we're not going to give over any of that control.
And Schalke have been a little more slippery than that, too. So I think it's been frustrating for Giants. They've been trying to find something. I think that's why they maybe went for that quick teleport play, despite the fact that Schalke was already moving off. And Joko, he gets caught for just a second, but he's still able to make it over the wall with the dash. And Schalke, they're the ones that are throwing the weight a little bit more around the map right now. Ruin stuck on bottom side wave duty, and he doesn't have TP.
And there's a lot of pings up on the top side of the map for Schalke, and exactly because Ruin doesn't have that teleport. And we know the 20-minute Baron has been somewhat of a curse for Schalke. They've had teams take it away from them at 20 minutes. They themselves have tried to start it up when they have fallen behind. But this game hasn't really felt too much like a traditional Schalke game in the sense that it stays even for a very long time, then blows up around the 20-minute mark. It has been a big lead for Giants right at the start, and then slowed down a ton.
Yeah, it's a very different pace. It's obviously the funnel comp is a big part of that, but Schalke clearly trying to change things, and they need to. These guys are not looking as good as they expected of themselves coming into this split. Schalke wanted to not be in a situation where they were only 2 wins on the board, in danger of falling down to the same territory as Giants, their opponents right now. Speaking of Giants, making the proactive moves, it looks like they're going for the objectives onto the top side. Nuxalot brings Steel back along for the ride with Betsy, and they're free hitting this tower.
The rest of Schalke just weren't ready quite to proactively go against this play, but they have brought up 4 members at the moment. Chachi does have teleport, but not going to go for the fight, just going to try and stop the turret from falling.
Just barely. It's a stiff breeze is going to knock that one over, and this is the game you were talking about, the average game that Schalke actually has, is they have played very even games up until that 20-minute mark, and then it just falls apart. And this is what they were saying on the desk. It seems like they let you win, but this game is very different already.
Yeah, on the desk, they're talking about how when Schalke make that one mistake, they just shut down and they stop making any plays. So far this game, it's been just keep on trugging along, get Nuke Duck more and more gold. He's working on Death's Dance now, looks like currently, to get some more survivability on this build. And if this game continues to stall out, I give more and more stock over to Schalke as Nuke Duck continues to get stronger and stronger.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you want to have this hyperscaling. It has been a very slow burn of a game, though, like 4 combined kills in 22 minutes, considering the early start there. Barrel gets dodged out by the Alistair. Vander, a lot of Schalke members up towards the top side trying to knock down this turret. I mean, that's standing gold, and they haven't really let Giants grow their lead this game. It has been that 2K for like 10 minutes now.
It just hasn't moved even an inch. I think a lot of that is because they have just put on this power stance on the side of Schalke, where they group up with all their members, say, you know what, Giants, this game feels even. This feels like even Schalke have a slight advantage, the way they are actively moving themselves around the map. And you can see even with their play around the Baron, realistically, they shouldn't have control over this side of the map. Giants should be able to walk on in there, own the vision, and stop Schalke from moving forward, but that's just not been the case so far this match.
Yeah, and even in the 1v1 situation, we just saw it there with Chachi and Ruin, it's actually fairly even as well. And a lot of this, you know, give Chachi some credit. After he gets completely beat on for like 10 minutes of this game, he gets the adaptive helm, and now he can 1v1.
But what do Giants do? How do they get out of this hole is what I'm looking at.
I'm looking at Betsy. I want to see this guy going for the crazy plays, man.
Yeah, I'm looking at Betsy. I'm looking at Ruin as well, because we talked a bit about how it's much harder for Joko to find the initiation, but I think the Equalizer is a fantastic tool to be able to start off a fight from long range, slow down the enemy team, start them burning, and now that he has the teleport available, Giants could look for some sort of a flanking play. Sir Nuxalot 2 has the Abyssal Voyage. There are tools in the arsenal of Giants. We just need to see them actually use them now.
Yeah, speaking of using their tools, Nuke Duck, he does send out Void Assault, goes in on the Killer Instinct, looking for Joko. Look at that damage. He's going to be able to get it before the fight even begins.
That's not a full tank Joko right there. No armor on his side, and instantly blows up in the face of Nuke Duck.
Yeah. I mean, he saw it coming, and he couldn't stop it at this point. This is what happens. The downside of going that more AP-oriented Gragas. Yes, there's also an adaptive helm, but MR doesn't work that well against AD.
Yeah, it does do some against the Kaisa, who of course has the Ginsu's Rage Blade, but this is not the traditional full tank Grugs that we've seen a whole lot in the past. Not to say that it was a mistake on the side of Joko, it's just something that needed to be a little bit more offensive earlier on and needed to not let things slow down on his end.
But it's Schalke that are dictating the pace once again, so they go for the kill. They grab themselves a Mountain Drake as well, and they're the ones moving around this map and forcing Giants to respond, where Giants actually need to be the ones going in. That gold lead has cut down to 1,000.
It's evening up. So much gold on Nukeduck. Wow,
Yeah.
12,400 against the 9K on the side of Betsy. Level 16 too, so that shield's going to be very, very big for this Kaisa. And
Super Kaisa.
Yeah, the Death Dance should be completed very soon as well. So that 3 item is going to be almost unbeatable. I feel like Nukeduck is definitely unbeatable at the moment in a 1v1, 1v2 even. Giants are going to have to put so much effort into actually taking him down if they want to win a fight.
And Nukeduck is the kind of player that you really can do this with as well. As Vander goes in, looks for steal back, gets swallowed up by Nukes a lot. This is without the Kaisa around there, as Nukeduck has not actually found an opening just yet. They get the knock up, the last breath. Betsy's going in for the cow. Do they have the damage to actually finish him off? Nukeduck turns back. Joko once again upset, flashing forward. And even gets a Q down. Nukeduck still right in the thick of things. Black Shield holding strong for the time being, but they don't find the kill this time.
Yeah, Ruin was trying to rotate up through the Riven. Giants were sorely missing the equalizer in that team fight. It was a little bit disjointed. The initial move...
Oh, hello.
Okay.
What just happened?
So what happened very likely was Vichichachi flash E'd, and then Nukeduck spat all his buttons on Ruin and killed him.
Oh, that's good play-by-play, man.
Yeah, no, I'm an expert.
We got to see that one again. Hopefully we get the replay in just a minute, but you blinked and you missed it, and we certainly did. 25.5 minutes, Schalke, 4 kills, all of them in Nukeduck's pocket. It is a slow burner of a game, but the funnel is funneling.
The funnel has funneled, I feel like, as the Death Dance we've been talking about for a little while has finally come through from Nukeduck. Here it is.
There we go.
So Ruin turns around.
This was his mistake.
Yeah, this is during the fight where he was trying to actually run through the river, and Chachi was straight up zoning him from getting into that fight. Really needed the equalizer in that one. Flashy, I guess.
Oh,
there you go.
right into the wall. Instant killer
Wow.
instinct. I love that.
And instantly, oh, he loses the flash too. That's brutal. That is rough.
Feels bad, man. Feels great, though, if you're Nukeduck right now. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit more about this guy because the funnel composition is definitely something that can suit a guy that has so much upside in his playstyle. Remember, Nukeduck has been around for so long, and he still has, I want to say moments, a little more than flashes of brilliance. He can step up and carry big games. We remember what he was able to do up against Perks the last time they met in the spring split. And it's pretty impressive when he actually gets onto a roll.
There's
And
a
now let's see
teleport.
teleport coming in, but Nukeduck doesn't care. He's in onto the Tom Kench. Nukeslot instantly is able to pop his Grey Health, but Ruin around the side, not finding anyone for now, and he's actually caught, isolated from the team. True Shot Barrage comes in, just clips the health bar. Visit Chachi upset, being turned back on, but there's the damage. Nukeduck with the 5th kill of the game for him. 3-man knockup from the Yasuo, but Betsy doesn't want to go in on that one.
Well, again, these TPs from Ruin just don't feel like they're working because Ruin comes into that fight. His equalizer was still on cooldown. Didn't have that to lay down 5 members. Sure, Deficio, whatever you want.
This is what I was leading up to, but Deficio just basically got to the good part. And yeah, Year of Nukeduck, maybe with the funnel it can be again. Let's take a look at that fight one more time.
Ruin doesn't have equalizer. The bottom bar at the screen is lying to you right now. Ruin could have, if he does have it, lay down 5 members right now. There's a chance for Giants to come in and just wombo these guys into oblivion, but he gets caught out. No flash on him, as you remember when he got picked off the last time.
There's just not a lot of coordination in these team fights. It seems like Giants, they're struggling to know how to react, and meanwhile their gold lead is evaporating even further. 400, 500, that's all that separates these two teams. And the Super Kaisa is still getting bigger.
It's not going to slow down until it's 6 items, boots are sold, and
yeah, this is a Mega Kaisa
Nexus
right now,
is down.
actually. If I'm going by my nomenclature.
the
Take a
Mega
look at
Kaisa?
the Mega Kaisa.
What comes after Mega Kaisa?
Giga Kaisa.
Giga Kaisa.
Yeah. And then if you're into computer terms, Terra Kaisa.
That is technically true.
Yeah. I mean, if I was actually following it along, we would have started with Kilo Kaisa, but that would get really confusing with the metric system.
I mean, I don't understand the metric system anyway,
Yeah,
so you know.
You've got some time.
Yeah,
got
you've
some
been
time.
here a while, so I
Yeah.
guess you have it under.
Do you know what a kilometer is, Andrew?
I do.
Oh, good.
It's kind of like a mile, but a little bit less.
Yeah, don't anybody correct him. He's new.
But I'm right. You can't just say don't correct me when I'm right.
I mean, I don't think you gave enough information, but I'm not going to quiz you just yet.
Okay.
All right. So Schalke are now in a fairly commanding position. I don't know if they're strong enough to just straight up take this Baron because The equalizer is on cooldown, or off cooldown now. So Ruin still can make some serious damage happen if Schalke group up.
Yeah, there's third item for Steelback completed too. Blade of the Ruined King, Infinity Edge on Betsy, massive for them. So I really do feel like this is the best time for Giants to try and win a fight at this point.
But speaking of massive, we haven't actually seen any big plays out of Betsy this game. I feel a little let down. You pick a Yasuo, and I want to see some like crazy like montage skin spotlights moments, but we haven't seen him go in.
I mean, it's tough when you don't have a 1v1 matchup, because Nuke Duck is, you know, going away the Friday. Okay.
Okay, now we've got the fight. Let's see if we've got the damage. Nuke Duck, though, is protected on the front line. That equalizer does not do enough. Ruin wants to go back in with the barbecue on. Let's see if Giants feel the second wind here. Steelback stepping forward, nearly takes the damage to Joko. He's found it. It looks like Upset's going down first, but Nuke Duck still on the backside, trying to make something out of nothing. Betsy is going to fall. However, Giants have already found Upset and Vander. Chachi staying alive just barely, but Giants take the fight.
That's exactly what we've needed to see out of Giants for the last 10 minutes. Force a fight. Use your summoner spells. Go in. Now they're headed straight over towards the Baron. This is the play they need to make and need to work out.
Okay, let's see if Schalke can do anything at this point to try and find it back. It looks like the Baron's actually not going to get taken, so they don't have to.
Okay, I got a little excited there. Thought they were definitely going to go over to that with Schalke.
Giants are playing cautious.
At the moment. They are playing cautious, and that concerns me because the more time you give to this guy, so the stronger she gets. But it is a great start to the fight. Again, finding the plays, double knock up there onto Nuke Duck and to the Morgana, so there couldn't be a Black Shield to come out initially. That meant that they could take down Vander and win out in that team fight.
Yeah. And Nuke Duck, he barely gets out of harm's way here. So, like, that's pretty critical, the fact the Giants were able to take him effectively out of the fight for some time. He has no flash now, which means if Giants want to take that fight once again, they might be able to do it. And that 4,148 damage from Ruin is going to be the difference maker in that one, and probably for all the fights to come.
Yeah, it's not actually the equalizer, because it's actually, you know, skewing the scales in the favor of Giants when he is able to get that
More
off.
like Flame Spitter, just consistently, yeah.
Yes. Look for more plays. Make it happen.
Oh, there it is. Now that one's going to be big, but is it going to be enough? Chachi looking to come around the side for the flank. Giants decide they don't want to take that fight, so equalizer for nothing.
But what do they move into now? They don't have a minion wave to work with in the mid lane. Right now, Schalke are actually just taking the Cloud Drake on the bottom side of the map, so it's a cooldown blown on the side of Ruin and an objective secured by Schalke.
It's a very interesting dance, this game, back and forth. I feel like both teams kind of don't have the best feeling of rhythm. They're opportunistic. Obviously, Schalke have been on the up and up, but Giants are uncertain when they want to actually make the next move.
And right now, Schalke just pushing down that middle lane. They don't have the minions necessarily to work with this.
Oh.
They're actually keeping the one alive to stop the backdoor bonus from dropping, and Giants, they're just dancing around this objective.
They could have traded. They could have traded. What? They didn't do it.
They're going to look for a fight, potentially with Vander getting chunked out so low.
Okay, now dodge out the Kaisa W. Vander does get chunked, and he actually is forced to use his ultimate as well. Chachi spends his, but it misses Betsy. Giants, they're on the Baron here. Now Schalke, are they going to be able to react in time? Is Baron even low enough for it to matter? Giants, they get cold feet once again. Joko keeps it aggroed. But now, this has gotten a little bit haywire here. Baron is not nearly low enough, and Giants, they've got to get out of there.
Joko's looking for the flank, though he has the ultimate to try and make it work.
Okay, he gets one. It only knocks him away, and Chachi goes in, gets the bang onto the wall of the Gragas. Here goes Nuke Duck into the backside. Now, the equalizer not going to find a target at all, and Schalke turn the heat right up. Ruin is going to get ruined as soon as that stopwatch ends, flashing out of harm's way, but how long can he last? Amazing still tanking the line, and he goes down with Ruin, but that is a 2-for-1 trade, and now it's Schalke's time at the Baron.
Schalke winning the Baron tango right there so hard. They forced Giants to start that objective up, backed away at the right time and baited him in.
No fight, no smite. It looks like they tried to get a little bit of extra damage, but in the end of the day, the Super Kaisa secures the Baron. And now at 33 minutes, Schalke firmly in that driver's seat.
They finally have the chance to start sieging down these turrets. With so many supports to buff up a marksman, it's very easy to take those down. I liked the idea from Joko, getting the flank so that the cask could get behind that Braum Unbreakable, but he missed it. He only hit onto one member. It was not enough. And his team paid the price for it.
Yeah, I kind of think you can apply that to Giants this game in general. I like the idea, but the execution needs some work.
Yeah, and again, it just slowed down a little bit too much for me. There are questions they'll be asking themselves, like after they won that fight, could they then have gone for the Baron? But they have to look forward now.
But it's encouraging for Schalke because, as you can see, the Baron control for this team has not been so great, let's say. So playing this funnel composition, playing the style that's different from what we've seen out of them and what they struggled themselves against is now definitely bearing some fruit. Now, who's to say this is going to work against a team that's stronger than Giants? But you need something. And this is definitely a confidence booster right now for Schalke 04.
Yep, it's taken them a nice, long, slow pace, but okay.
As soon as you say it, Ender, they're going to turn it right around. Nukeduck gets amazing to tag back on in. Do they have the damage? Chachi around the flank. Steelback will pick up amazing, but I think the rest of the team might be caught out. Chachi takes down Joko meanwhile, and it looks like Nukeduck is trying to nuke them all down, staying alive.
Okay.
But Giants finding the fight, and Steelback can't quite get the shutdown, but he does before falling for the triple kill.
That Kaisa is nuts, but Giants win the team fight in their own jungle. Huge loss there for Schalke, as Giants now have their eyes set on a turret.
All right, now that was a bloody brawl, but Giants trying to make the most of the situation, finding themselves ahead in the game. Finally, Nukeslot and Ruin going to fire down this tower. Some much-needed gold will flow into their pockets after all said and done, and Chachi can only get there in time to wave goodbye to the tower.
We say they need the gold, but we're just dead even between these two teams at the moment. It's just all in the favor of Nuke, but he's the guy that goes in right off the bat. He had a frozen mallet in his inventory. He says, I'm tanky enough to make this happen, but when the rest of his team has to commit into this choke point, it's Betsy and Steelback destroying on top of the Equalizer. The three-man NATO from Betsy really turned this fight around.
Yeah, finally the damage starting to come through for Giants' pair of carries, and Nukeduck just bleeding so low. He almost outplays Steelback here. That was crazy. And then he dies eventually, but still, like, wow. That's a super Kaisa.
Yeah, and there was an old adage where you said you don't fight against a Rumble in a tight choke point. That's exactly what Schalke did. They put down the giant equalizer on top of that. The last breath from Betsy. Insane.
Yep. I feel like Schalke definitely want to take the fights in a situation where they can chase Giants down, not where they actually have to get up front, up close and personal. So still, despite the 10 kills for Nukeduck on that Kaisa and that frozen mallet in tow, he's not quite sold his boots yet. We're not a Giga Kaisa.
Hey, but he did sell his jungle item for an Essence Reaver.
That's
so going to have the increased cooldown reduction whenever he pops that ultimate to spam out those abilities, stay invisible for a very long time in case Giants ever do manage to catch him out. And they're still having that one Baron buff. They're still trying to siege down the base.
Yeah, see if they're going to be able to do it here. A couple of minions still holding tough, but the rest of Giants have taken their stand. The base has not been broken open on either side this game. It has been very close, very tense, down to the wire, and now the Baron has evaporated, which means the Giants live to fight another day. Yeah, maybe we're getting to that late game.
Hey, maybe. It's funny, too, because Giants comp really felt like it was built to play around the mid-game. They got an early advantage. They played very differently, but because they weren't quite able to make as much use of it, now they're forced to go into that late game that they're supposedly love.
Is there some kind of irony in that?
I think so.
Okay. Well, Chachi can't save the tower up top. It's 5-5, though. We are very even, as we consistently point out. The biggest difference maker, I feel, aside from the compositions themselves, is the fact that Schalke have all these dragons.
Yeah, the Elder Dragon spawning in 20 seconds is going to be so big for Schalke. And right now, there's tons of deep vision for them. They'll know exactly when Giants are entering the area. And the Giants, they have no idea what's going on. So Schalke are stalking right now, looking for a pick on anyone that walks in.
Okay, and Chachi trying to bait it out in the mid. But all of Schalke pushing the wave to the bottom. Let's see how Giants are able to react to this one. Remember, if it does come down to a fight in the Dragon Pit, Giants might have the edge with Ruin's Equalizer, but they've got to get a good flank on.
I think Ruin has to use his Equalizer here to actually clear away this minion wave.
Abyssal Voyage coming in. Okay, looks like the Gragas is going to get rooted. Schalke decide not to take the fight.
Yeah, Joko on the flank, the Abyssal Voyage coming in as well, meant that Giants were ready to stop that one, and Ruin holds on to his cooldown, which is very important moving in to this Elder Dragon fight. Giants were able to get a few wards down themselves, but Schalke have now cleared them out, and they're going to have to go in fast, because this Baron, this Elder is going down swiftly.
Yeah, half damage. That's what happens when you have the Kaisa on top of it. Now here comes the Poppycopter, not going to find anybody on this one. The Baron, the Dragon, I should say, is still up for grabs. It's going to get smited down by Nukeduck, and meanwhile, the fight's already on, but Vander's going to fall after this one. Let's see if Schalke can still find the fight they're looking for. Get the stun up onto the Gragas. Down he goes. Rather, Gruen is going to be the one to fall, and that means that all the damage the Giants have is pretty much gone down to zero. Guardian Angels getting popped left, right, and center. Now Nukeduck and the rest of Schalke finding the fight, finding the lead, finding the win that they so desperately need. Betsy desperately trying to hold on himself, but I don't think there's a whole lot of hope left for Giants here in this game, Ender.
He's going for the fancy plays, trying to juke away from Chachi, but It's going to be really tough to get out of this
Looking at
one.
dodges. Chachi just keeps chasing him down and gets out of the tornado. We just keep on watching it. That's going to be the ace, and up next, it's the base.
Yeah, it's looking like it's over here for Schalke with the Elder Dragon bonus and the minion waves in this bottom lane. They won the team fight, they secured the objective, and they're going to walk away with the win.
Well, Schalke very happy with how this game is played out for the most part. It was definitely tense for a while. Very close. Giants tried to keep it so, but Schalke no fear will walk away with a victory, improving to 3 and 4. And who knows, maybe after this game, it really is the year of the Duck.
It's the Friday of the Duck. I'll give them that. I need to see more out of Nuke Duck, some more wins, some more great performances like that one before I give him the full year. But they showed a different style here with Schalke. Pulled out the funnel to be the third team here in EU to show they can do it.